to another episode of Cooking with Dr. Doobie Stevens. Today we're going to do a couple of things, actually, a couple of special things. We're going to do some pan-seared and baked salmon, my own little special quick and easy recipe. I'll share that in more detail with you. And we're also going to do a mushroom and kale quinoa salad. I know, right? It sounds hoity-toity and good for you and all that kind of stuff, but one of the things I like to do is try to make really just boring food better, right? So this week we're going to be trying to do a little bit more better for ourselves in the home, cook a little bit healthier. I'm going to cover a few ingredients that we've got here. So I've just got some salmon fillets. These ones were skinless. They happen to be on sale, so I picked those up. You could totally do skin. I like to use a fillet instead of a steak, but really you could use whatever salmon you want, whatever's whatever's on sale, whatever is sustainable, whatever floats your boat. We're also going to do like I said, a mushroom and kale quinoa salad. And what I've done here is I've picked, at my local grocery store, they often do a little mixture of what they call gourmet mushrooms, which is just, a few different kinds of mushrooms. It just depends on the season. Comes with a little package like this. If you don't have that, you don't have access to that, whatever mushroom you've got, I like to use usually a brown mushroom, so a bella or crimini works well. So you're going to use some cucumber, some tomatoes from our garden. I've got some pine nuts here. We're going to toast and add that to the salad. I've got here rainbow quinoa. You could use whatever quinoa you want. It doesn't really matter. I think the important part is that you rinse your quinoa thoroughly under cold water before you cook it. The reason being is that it can be, there's some, I don't know what's on it exactly, but if you don't rinse it, it can leave some bitter aftertaste behind. So usually we'll rinse that thoroughly before I cook it, and then cook it to whatever your box recipes say, or whatever it comes in. Usually it's a lot like rice, and it takes about 20 minutes or so, 2 parts water, 1 part quinoa, but it might depend depending on, the type of quinoa that you get, but just follow whatever directions you've got there. Also, I like to add a little bit of seasoning, a little bit of salt and pepper. If you've got a chicken stock or vegetable stock, you could definitely use that to boil instead of water. We're just going to use water today and some salt and pepper. So, got some dried cherries here that's going to go in the salad as well. Got some extra virgin olive oil from one of my local places, and also some champagne vinegar. That's what we're going to use for our vinaigrette today. If you don't have champagne vinegar, you don't want to use it, whatever, you also use a white balsamic. That works well. And then I've got just a bag of some baby arugula and also some baby kale. And the baby kales we're going to use to saute with our mushrooms, and then we're also going to throw some in the salad as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get started prepping all this stuff up. And just wanted to give you a quick glance and some idea of what we're doing today. And we'll be right back and we'll get started. Okay, so first thing we want to do is get started on our mushroom mixture. But right before I do that, I do want to give the salmon a bit of seasoning. So I'm going to do a little bit of salt and pepper. Okay, now I'm just gonna get the quinoa started. You can cook. The nice thing about this is you can cook a lot of the stuff ahead of time, right? So you don't have to prepare it all at once. Here's what I do with my quinoa. It's in the sink. Why is it in the sink? Because I rinsed it in the mesh, like I mentioned. So make sure you mix it, or rinse it, or it could come out a little bitter. So. Got a 2-to-1 ratio here. So I'm just going to use some water and a little bit of salt and pepper. Probably about a teaspoon of salt, a couple big pinches, a few grinds of pepper. Okay, I've got the quinoa going. I've got my pan, some hot over medium heat. I'm going to add the special ingredient, which is duck fat. You can use ghee or clarified butter, or you can just use butter or olive oil. But I happen to have some duck fat, so I'm going to use duck fat. Okay, so while the mushrooms are browning, we're just gonna get started on a couple other of our ingredients. I've got here a cucumber. One of the tricks I like to do with cucumbers is peel it and seed it. I don't like all the seeds or the skin, so I get rid of them. You do whatever you want with your cucumber. One of the other tricks I do is, if you have kids, sometimes it can be difficult. Get them to eat what you're making, especially something like this, kale and mushroom quinoa salad, no way. So, I want him to eat some cucumbers, and I know he likes cucumbers, so I'm just gonna cut these into some sticks. And then I just start plating his ahead of time. This will be his plate as I cut up things, like the tomatoes. I'll just add a few tomatoes now to his plate. We'll put some salmon on there, and whatever else we might have. He just, won't eat that kind of stuff, but he does like his vegetables raw and sort of a deconstructed salad, so I start plating this ahead of time and gets him to eat, makes life easier, so do what you will. So we're just gonna start adding things to this as they're done. The quinoa will be done a little bit, but we're not gonna, speaking of the devil, we're not gonna add it right in when it's hot because we don't wanna wilt all the vegetables. We're gonna give it a chance to cool off while we finish off the mushroom mixture and then also cook the salmon. So. Okay, the quinoa is about done. Give it a quick check. Make sure there's no more liquid in the bottom, and it looks good. So, I'm gonna set this aside for about 10 minutes to let it sort of rest, and then we'll fluff it, let it cool a bit more, and then we'll toss it in the salad. Meanwhile, I've got our mushrooms here, and as you can see, they're getting a nice little golden brown color on them. They've shrunken a little bit, which is what we want. We want some of the liquid to come out, and they look pretty good. Drizzle. And in with the shallots. Extra lubrication for the shallots. And we'll give these probably another couple minutes just to soften a bit before we toss in the kale. Meanwhile, we're going to toast the pine nuts. We just wanted them to get a little hot so that their natural aromas start to come out, start to brown a little bit, and I'll add a little extra nuttiness, another little flavor layer. And right when they start to, you can start to smell them and they start to turn brown. That's when you just turn it off and then let them sit and cool. And then make sure you keep an eye on them. So I'm gonna add them here, spread them out. Got this in about medium low. We'll just keep an eye on it. Okay, the shallots are nice and soft. Just gonna add another little drizzle olive oil and in with the kale. Now, you may have noticed we have not added any salt to this yet, and that is on purpose for a couple reasons. Number one, I like to, I want to make sure that we wait until the kale is in before we salt everything. That way it gives it helps us get an even coating of salt on everything. And then number two is, I like to wait to add salt to mushrooms until they've had a chance to brown. That way they've given up all of their the liquid that they're going to. And then we add some salt, they will give up anything else that's residual, and it helps them absorb the salt and other flavors that are going into this. So we'll in, we're going to give it a pinch of salt here. A little bit more. Pepper. That's the perfect amount, so that's good. Stir. Start to smell the kale a little bit. It's good. Smell these, and as you can see, I'm going to stick a little bit, but they are turning nice golden brown, so they're done. Okay, this is just about done. Quick trick is, what we're going to be using this for is obviously it's a salad, right? We're gonna do that. The other thing that you could do is you could actually, this is a great base for making like a cream sauce for some pasta or some other dish. And so one of the last things I like to do is just sort of deglaze it a little bit with some white wine. I have some Pinot Grigio here. These are nice, little handy for cooking, I find, because they're a small portion. They have a little scoop top onto them. There's all kinds of brands. You just give it a nice little splash here. That's just going to add another little layer of flavor. And I'm just going to cook this until it reduces down. Because we only used a tablespoon or so, it won't take long. But now, because of the mushrooms have given up all their liquid, and the kale as well, all of this, right? They'll now absorb a little bit of the wine. That reduced in a minute or so, and then we're going to turn it off, set it aside while we do the rest of our dish. Okay, this is done. As you can see, all the wine is reduced. Still a little bit wet, but it's fine. We're going to turn it off now, and we're going to set it aside and let it cool. Give it a chance to cool down, right? We don't want it to wilt the other vegetables in our salad, and it'll give it a chance for some more of the liquid to absorb and to evaporate. Hello, and welcome back. So we've got a lot of our ingredients done. Mushrooms are done, the quinoa is done, we've got a lot of our vegetables chopped up. We're going to start with the salmon, and once that's done, we'll get started on our dressing and assembly. So a quick couple things about the salmon. Again, I've got two fillets here, skinless. They just happen to be on sale, so I got them skinless. If they had skin, I'm going to cook them the same way. We're going to treat them like they had skin. We're going to start with skin side up. But really what we're going to do is we're going to sear it on each side for 2 minutes, and we're also going to add a little bit of lemon and wine as we go to add some flavor, and as you see in a moment, to help steam and bake the salmon as well, so that make sure that it gets done on the inside as well as the outsides. So, without further ado, I'm going to add some butter here, about a tablespoon. You want it to be nice and hot so it foams like this. And I just usually tilt it around, make sure that the pan gets a nice coating. So, add the salmon. Skin side up. And we're gonna let it go 2 minutes. Okay, 2 minutes is up. Give it a flip. And I've got here juice of 1 lemon. We're going to use about half of this. I'm going to pour it right in the middle here. And some white wine. And we're going to cover it. 2 minutes. So it gives the other chance, nice opportunity to sear. And then the liquid will add obviously some flavor, some lemon and some white wine along with the butter. But then also will steam, create steam and help sort of bake the salmon as well. So that's sort of my trick for a nice pan seared and baked steam. Okay, time is up. And when time is up, you really do want to make sure that you get these off. The salmon can overcook really easily. Right back onto our frying rack. And voila. So we'll set these aside. Remember, they will continue to cook, even set aside like this. So we're going to let them rest. Just like any kind of meat, the juices redistribute, and it'll be a nice little pairing with our salad later on. Okay, our salmon's done. We've got some cucumbers, tomatoes. We're going to prepare the last of our ingredients, which is some arugula. I like arugula because it gives a nice little, it's green, right? So it's a little healthy for you. But it also has like just a hint of like just a little spice to it. Kind of like both a green, lettuce and an herb. Now, before we add the quinoa and the mushrooms, I want to make the dressing and dress the salad first. Reason being is I like to make sure that the vegetables, all the raw vegetables, have a good opportunity to sort of get coated in the dressing, maybe absorb it a little bit before we start throwing in things like quinoa and the mushroom mixture, because those ingredients will soak up some of the dressing, and then there won't be enough for the vegetables. So give us an opportunity to marinate, if you will, and then we'll add the other things, start laying in the salad, and then we'll be just about ready. We're all set. It's time to plate. Voila. Pan seared and baked salmon with a kale, mushroom, and quinoa salad. I'll be posting this online. You'll have the full recipe and anything else I may have left out while on camera. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.